Hello and welcome to the Mediahawk views of what's happening in the automotive market in July 2023. I'm Harry Bott and I'm a director on the automotive side within Mediahawk, who provide call tracking and analytics services to over 20% of the AM100 and a number of manufacturers. So as a result, we have a great deal of knowledge of what is working in terms of response to advertising online and offline, and we also see a lot of data of how the market's performing by talking to our customers and some of the data we get from other areas. For those of you who know me, I do a regular monthly email about the automotive sector and how it's performed. And this month we're doing something different, which we shall hopefully carry on doing, where we're videoing my views on what's happened in July. So what we're going to start by looking at is a top-level view of some of the key trends that I've seen. And then thank you very much Auto Trader, but I'm going to take some of their data and show you actually how that supports what our views are on the market, and then come up with a little summary. So let's start by having a look at what I see as the key trends that happened, or I could see coming out of July. Firstly, really interestingly, is the COVID hangover has gone. As we all know, there's been oversupply, there's been a shortage of new cars, and these have now washed through, so there's much easier to get hold of a brand new car. And so new car supply is freeing up. And this is also represented by the fact we're starting to see 0% finance in new cars, which you hadn't seen before. The manufacturers, to try and throttle back on supply, were putting finance in. But whenever they start putting 0% finance, that shows that they've actually got excess stock starting to build up in the system. However, in the period of COVID, the cost of brand new cars have gone up. So although they might have 0% finance, the overall price per month has actually gone up. So that's creating a lower demand than expected. An interesting factor that's just happened this quarter is the EV, what I call the EV challenge. We all know about the problems that's going on at a used level, but actually there's now beginning to be a problem that's going on at a new level, because this is driven partly by customers' concern about EV and mileage and some of the negative press we've had in the last quarter or so, but it's also driven by the cost of EVs as well. And so again, we are seeing a challenge on this front. So the manufacturers have been producing a lot of EV cars. In fact, someone told me that they knew of one manufacturer, for every 100 cars they're producing, only 3 of them were ICE cars, and the other 97 were EVs. So we can expect to see challenges on the EV front. However, the good news for everybody is, just regardless of what's happening on the new sector, the used car market is continuing to remain strong, albeit there's pressure on margins. And how can we see this? Let's just have a look at Auto Trader. I'm one of these bizarre people who've been keeping Auto Trader's stats going for the last 5 years. So you can actually start to build up a graph, a picture of what's going on in overall amount of stock on Auto Trader. So that colour that's a sort of pinky brown is this year, and you can start to see that is going above where we've had over the years of COVID. But if you call 2019 a normal year, it shows you 2020. For those of you who've got long enough memories, that's when Auto Trader allowed you start COVID, and Auto Trader allowed you to put all their stock on for free. So that's a bit of an outlier. What's interesting is that with Auto Trader, we can start to look at how the sub 1 year stock has changed month on month since 2023 compared to the previous 4 years. So again, use 2019, which is the black line, as our base case, and you can see 2023 is still significantly lower than 2019. And what's that saying to us? Back in 2019, we had oversupply of new cars, so of course people were pre-registering, and therefore it gives you a lot of nearly new vehicles. We are now in a much more natural position, which there's a small amount of it. It gets slightly higher than 2022, but as the new car stock comes in, we're going to actually see this all come in. So if we look at the 1 to 2 year stock, i.e. the traditional bread and butter, it's come out of being nearly used, so you have a pre-reg vehicle, and this is the bread and butter of a dealer. It's 1 to 2 years, 18 months to 2 years, as it were. In 2022, we're exactly where we were in 2021. And what's interesting, in 2019, you can see that there we are, we're still significantly below that. So that's why I always say at the moment, I don't see this changing anytime soon. The used car market is still maintaining a strength that you might not have thought. So let's see, so how do we summarise that? Well, a lot of our dealers have got very short-term memories. They're somewhat like goldfish. I don't mean that in a negative way, but they go around the goldfish and they forget what happened last month, let alone previous years. And if I'd like to remind you, Q3, the first 2 months, is always a tough time. There's holidays, people have got other things to do with themselves. So there's a perception that maybe the market is less strong than it is. The demand is still out there. There are still vehicles to sell and there's still ways to make money. However, what we do know is the challenge a lot of car dealers are facing is it's at a sales process level. And sales process, we know from our call tracking and what we do in terms of our data analytics with our customers, is that if the lead numbers are dropping, then A, you need to convert that lead quicker, but B, on the basis that 60% of all leads come via a phone, you have got to be right on top of that lead, because our data shows, and the data of the customers we work with, only 50% of sales calls get onto a DMS or lead management system within 24 hours of an original call. And if you take the data we do where we match Auto Trader calls against underlying sales, you will find that an Auto Trader call will convert, 60% of Auto Trader calls will convert within 48 hours of the initial inquiry. So if you're not getting 50% of your leads onto your lead management system and 60% convert within 48 hours, you can see there's a massive gap. So overall, what's my final take on the market? It's that we've had another good month. People are still making money, and most certainly it isn't the end of the world. But there's some interesting points going on about new car sales, and there is definitely more new cars available. And I'll be talking more later this month about agencies. So look out for my email and blog on LinkedIn on that. Thank you very much.